Hello, Bruno. In 2013, getting access to money was very, very stressful. I know this because I was a student at the time, and I would often have to go all the way to the bank, follow a long queue just to get my money. Now, I often have to go to the ATM as well, but then the ATM machine most of the time does not work, and when it's working, it's not a cause for celebration because the ATM had this habit of debiting your account without giving you any cash. I believe we all know what that feels like. It's your last kobo, you swipe in your card, you hear the you're waiting for your money to come out, but then it never comes out. But look at where we are today. I can transfer money to anyone, anywhere, using my phone. There are online vendors everywhere. There are more ATMs, the online banking apps like the Kuda, the OPay, your Money Point, and there's practically a POS operator on every street. So getting access to your money has never been easier. We have gone from standing on long queues to having financial solutions at our fingertips. It's remarkable, is it not? The banking system did not just improve, it evolved. Now, just like the banking system changed to fit our needs, shouldn't our schools do the same? Now, our classrooms now are still stuck in the past with the same teaching methods from decades ago, still being used with little to no adaptation to the world that we live in. It's like being stuck on the same page of a very, very old textbook, while the world around us has moved on to augmented realities, artificial intelligence, blockchains. We are still stuck on the same page, trying to download 2025 on a 1990 system. I hate to be the spoiler, but it does not work. Now, because of all this, I realized that if education does not evolve, if we don't prioritize communication, connection, and technology in our classroom, then we will fail the next generation. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, how better communication can transform education before it is too late. Let's look into the why. Why has education in Nigeria failed to evolve? Definitely not because we lack the talent. I've been in the edtech space for 4 years now, and I've met brilliant minds in the country, brilliant minds in the industry. So we have talent, we have innovators, but I believe that the problem lies in the system. Our classrooms are still a one-way street where the student just stands in front of the classrooms and deliver a lecture, and the students are just expected to sit down and listen. And this has created a massive gap between what students are learning in school and what they actually need to thrive in the real world. So we have just become so comfortable in the status quo. I have a picture of an ideal classroom in my mind, but to paint that picture for you, I'll take you back to when I got my first job. Wow. It's like I did not know anything. By the way, I'm an A student, but I came to the workspace without having any knowledge of how to proceed. So I had to take up some courses online, of course, like business writing, strategic thinking, but most of my learning was practical, on the job. My boss, God bless him, was a very, very patient person. He taught me many things. For example, I learned the Microsoft Office suites from him. That's the Word, your PowerPoint, Excel sheet. And I learned by him having me do the work. He would correct me and then ask me to do it again and again until I got it right. So learning was hands-on, practical, and interactive. And it was filled with idea exchange. Mind you, he was always 100 steps ahead of me, but we used technology every step of the way. At that time, it was your copy AI, it was your online templates that you search your Google search to find them, and that was long before ChatGPT even came into existence. Now the point is, we leveraged all the tools, we communicated, we connected, and now, years later, just 4 years actually, I lead communications. For me, that's an ideal classroom. That is what our classrooms should look like, not the lecture, deliver, listen, go out, pass examination, and that's all. And then you go into the workspace with zero idea how you're going to start or move forward. But think about it a little bit. What we're doing in these four walls is communication. What happens in our rooms, in classrooms, boardrooms, marketplace, but most importantly, teaching is communication. The most effective teachers, they're not just transmitters of information. They are communicators of ideas. They inspire curiosity. They connect with their students and empower them to think critically. And that is what separates a good teacher from a great one. To fix our problem in education, we need to fix how students, parents, and teachers connect. The leading countries in the world did not just build their education system on infrastructure and curriculum. For example, in Finland, teachers work with each student one-on-one. In Japan, discussions are the cornerstones of learning. These countries understand that education is about people connecting. To build on what I've just said, in finding the best tools as a teacher, when you're making the choice for a teaching aid, a learning app, or a classroom strategy, you are making the choice based on how effectively it will communicate ideas to your students. Pedagogy is not just about techniques and classroom management and methods. No, it's about how we communicate knowledge, values, and skills in a way that resonates with our students. The kind of teacher you are, whether you inspire creativity, confidence, and curiosity in your student, it's communicated every single day in your words, in your actions, and most importantly, in your relationship with your students. Now, how do you help our schools to get better? I believe that technology plays a very big part, but technology on its own is just a tool. It's how we use it that can provide impact. For example, interactive learning platforms can help children to engage with content in a way that makes sense to them. But for those platforms to work, a teacher has to be able to communicate ideas through those platforms effectively. AI tools like, for example, the Corey AI can allow teachers to generate class notes, lesson plans, assessment questions in just a few minutes. But for that platform to work, the teachers need to be able to integrate the content effectively into their classrooms, because they cannot just generate, copy, and paste. Certainly, learning will not take place that way. Now, like I said, technology, that's just a tool. It's how we use it. It's whether we embrace it. So the question still remains, how do we evolve? I would like to look at 4 simple ways that we can do that. The first one is we have to master communications, because we cannot fix a problem that we are not able to articulate, to have conversations around, to look at the solutions. And our classrooms also have to become conversational, not static. The second thing we must do is we must take action. Words can do so much. It's actions, the actions that we take, that makes a difference. So as a person, look at one thing that you can do, one change that you can make today that can make impact. For example, if you're a teacher, what learning tools are you integrating to enhance learning in your classroom? If you're a student, how are you being communicated with your teachers? If you're a policymaker, are you pushing for solutions that will bring change in our classrooms, or is it just the status quo? As a parent, are you actively involved in your child's learning? Not just by, at the end of the term, you go and collect your report card, no, but by actually being in the process of it all. And the third thing we must do is we must embrace technology, just like the banks did. So education needs to evolve by embracing technology, not just by using it, but by having these educators apply these tools with intention and strategy. And then the last but not the least, we have to embrace change. education is not static. The world is shifting, economies are changing, and new jobs are emerging every single day. So future jobs will require skills that are not even out yet. So we have to be able to teach adaptability, problem solving, and most importantly, continuous learning, learning, unlearning, relearning. Now, I'd like to close this talk with a poem because I am a poet. Now, education in Nigeria is at a crossroad. We either evolve or we expire. The choice is ours, but if I should explain this to my daughter, I'll tell her to call me teacher, because that way, even when the classrooms are empty, there's always someone ready to guide the way. I would paint formulas at the back of her hand so that she knows that every equation erased is still waiting for a mind that's brave enough to solve it. I'll tell her about the classrooms with walls that crumble like stale bread, where dreams get buried under the dust of forgotten promises. The bell here, sadly, does not ring for beginnings, only for protests, for strikes, and fundings that never come, while children are crowded into spaces where learning feels like a privilege and not a right. But I would also say that even a broken clock is right, at least twice in a day. And there are teachers who show up. The brightest minds here struggle to reach their potential, and dreams, those lag behind outdated system. Education here, I would say, is a waiting game, waiting for power, for fundings, and for leaders to care. I tell her this system will test you hard. It will throw stones where there should have been pencils, and build walls where there should have been bridges, and where opportunities should flow like river, there will be drought instead. But I would also say that resilience grows from the cracks. And I would warn her that we have spent so long looking for saviors that we've forgotten that the real heroes are the children who carry their books like shields, marching into the battlefield against odds they don't even understand. And the educators who continue to teach without enough pay. I'll tell her, don't underestimate them. Because that girl in tattered uniform and hole in her shoe is already rewriting her own story. I'd say, yes, it's broken. The kind of broken that makes you want to look away, but don't. Because the next time they tell you that education is failing here, or give you statistics that feel like obituaries, you tell them that about the schoolyard where children are painting futures in the sand with sticks. You tell them that no matter how often they tear this system down, someone will always be there to rebuild it, brick by brick, hope by hope. And even if the foundation of education is cracked, the future of learning and the spirit will never be broken. Thank you very much.